Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Podcast, where we talk about how to grow your engineering career and chase your full potential. Ultimately, we want everyone listening to have access to a fulfilling career and be inspired to become the best versions of themselves. Steve Maxey, that is, he's back from a long trip. He's an engineering manager for Klein Tools, a 150-year-old family-owned hand tool manufacturer for the trades professional. You've probably heard of them. I myself am a professional engineer for Hallam ICS, a company that provides multiple engineering services, including mechanical, electrical, and process design for the built environment. That's who we are, and that's why we're here. So our podcast types, right? So first one's Steve and I. That's what we're doing right now. We're going to bring some fire. We're going to bring a topic to you today that hopefully you can walk away with one strategy to implement yourself. Two, occasionally we have solo episodes, which I think we'll probably doing more of. I kind of like those. We'll see. Where we cover something in 10 to 15 minutes and give you an idea that we're thinking about and that we've formulated some sort of opinion on that might be helpful for you. And then our third episode type, about once a month or so, we will bring on a guest with either an expertise in a particular field or just something really great to share, something that's very helpful for the impactful community. So that's the episode types. So if you're new to the show, you are all caught up. That's why we're here. That's what we do. And this is what you're going to hear.
And you're going to like it.
And you're going to like it. And you're going to share it, especially if you like it. If you hate it, you could share it too. Tell people to listen to it because it's so dumb. And be like, listen to this and agree with me that it's stupid. That'd be good for us, I think. All right, Steve, you've been gone for a while. I've been holding down the fort.
Yes.
Welcome back, brother.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it was a long trip. Almost 3 whole weeks out of the country.
Yeah, I'm sure people spend a lot of time out of the country in a position like yours. But what were you doing?
Yeah. So as the intro covers, I'm an engineering manager at a tool manufacturer. And, those tool manufacturers have companies all over the world that help them make tools, including themselves here in the USA. But in some of the tools that we're working on, it were for some overseas suppliers, right? So I was in Southeast Asia for almost 3.5 weeks, or 2.5 weeks, excuse me. Hit 4 different countries all over the place. Lots of fun. Probably most of the time was in Vietnam. Lots of good food there, by the way. The French-influenced Asian food is off the hook. I love Vietnamese food.
So the food, and then 30 seconds, biggest takeaway. I know the food's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
I love food too. So I could talk about eating food.
All day.
Making food. Yeah. Give us, what was one of the biggest insights?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest insights, and it doesn't matter if you're in Asia or Europe or even visiting other companies here in the States. I think the most important thing is focusing on building relationships and the impact that they have on getting work done effectively and efficiently. In my experience, when you first are working with another company or even internally, like if you're working with another team that is, say, at another location in the same company, at first, they're just an email, right? They're an email address or another name on the screen, or in a Teams meeting, they're just a voice or you might see a video, but there's just like a big disconnect there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're working on a project and something comes up and you have to get something done, you're not really a high priority in their eyes.
Yeah.
And so my biggest takeaway is when you are able to build a relationship with these people, you are able to be more candid and direct and cut out all the bullshit and just get work done. And it's so refreshing and it's fun at the same time, right? Because you are building relationships. You're sharing meals and working on a physical project with this person. You're sweating, you're going through the mud, the shit, and building a bond of mutual respect. And so that's really my biggest takeaway from these trips.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, and if they don't see you ever in person, Steve, They're not going to know you're some 6'4", like huge dude, right?
Yeah.
With like what, boat shoes, like, you know what I mean? That they're gonna be like, "Whoa, Steve," because I get that all the time. Like, I'll meet somebody and they're like, either with me or to the other person. I'm like, "Man, you're a lot taller," or "Oh wow, you were shorter than I thought," or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's no, that's just funny. No, good takeaway. Absolutely true. And even in a company that's as big as yours, like they know you're well established. You've been around for a long time. You have a good reputation, all that stuff. But still, like they're not just going to automatically do business with you. They need to know the people. They need to know who
Yes.
you are, right? There's that connection. Business has been done that way for so long, with the
Yeah.
face to face, everything being global and networked and remote, and it's relatively short in the timeline of businesses, right? So it's still very important to get out there and show your face and connect with these people. And I like the fact that you talked about you can cut through the bullshit, because you really can. Those conversations that go on behind closed doors, you know, uh,
Hmm.
they're much different than the ones where you're sitting in the boardroom and kind of talking, or you're sitting in a meeting with suppliers in a round table and you're like, trying to get through the meeting agenda and all this stuff. When you're out to dinner and you're talking one on one, or just maybe in a small group, like the conversations are much different, and those are the conversations that build the relationship, right? So get
Yeah.
out there and any way you can get to know these people, you know. So I would say how to translate that into your engineering career. Don't be shy about uh, taking people up on their asks for you to join a networking event, or go to some kind of a golf tournament, or whatever sponsored event that they're going to do that benefits something or someone or an organization. Get out there,
Yeah.
make these connections. I'm terrible at everything, and I say yes all the time. Like, hey, you want to, and I learn about stuff all the time too. Like, the International Interior Design Association. I'm like, who the heck is that? Well, like, oh, they've been around for a long time. It's the 27th annual croquet tournament. And it's like, dude, okay, let's go whack some balls with mallets. Cool. I'll talk to people. Um,
Yeah.
and you get to meet all the players in the game of where you're playing in your industry. So that there's going to be tons of contractors and tons of architects and interior designers, of course, and other vendors and people that play in that same sphere, and just get to know them, put them at
Yeah.
top of mind. Most
Yeah.
business, I wouldn't say most business, but you increase the likelihood that you will do business with someone if they know who you are. Let's just put it that way. It's plain and simple. Fight
Yeah.
me on that.
And I think another thing is when you're having these just meal conversations or game conversations, they will complain about something that they're facing that is unrelated to what you are working on together, and you'll have a solution in back of mind, or like, oh yeah, I have experience doing that. Just why don't you change this and attack it this way? And then they're like, fuck yeah, that's awesome, thank you, and that just builds more respect and more credibility, but in the relationship, to take what your input is on the project you are working on as, hey, we should actually listen and try to attack this project to their further recommendations.
Yeah, that's called participating.
Yeah, weird, huh?
You're not just going to promote your way into gaining business. You're just not. I mean, you can, but it's participating that's going to give you the biggest edge in my mind. Same thing goes with with you and I being active on LinkedIn. We're participating. We're sometimes we get into the promotion thing, and we just see it not working,
Mm-hmm.
right? And our goal is to spread the word on the engineering community that we're creating, because we know it's going to be super beneficial to everything that either you and I, Steve, do in the future, and for everyone else in what they're going to do in the future in the realm of engineering. You can get so much out of a big community that's tight knit and that can support each other. And so you want to participate over promoting, because we see the promoting thing not going anywhere. And I don't think people like it. I think participating is better. So this is just real talk, like participate. Go
Yes.
comment on people's stuff. Show your stuff, but then invite them to have an opinion on it, or open up the floor for participation. Don't just be like, here's my. So if you're someone trying to get active on LinkedIn to build relationships like we're talking about right here, you can do that over a long time horizon, and it'll have the same effect as what Steve just did in 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe it translates into 5 years, but it's something you can do on LinkedIn immediately to boost your visibility. So go talk to Steve Flanagan about it. Listen to the last episode that we had, and go connect with him too. Like, he's a big proponent of this. But get out there and participate. So when you show your stuff, right, welcome the comments and interact with the people. That's the most important part. Don't just be like, oh, here's this drawing I made and it's cool. Later, I got a podcast. Cool. Show your stuff. Talk about the emotion behind you creating the stuff, and then talk about some points that you want to make, and then say, if you want to know more, like, reach out to me or listen to this episode, right? So the difference between participating and promoting that I'm figuring out is I want to be participating. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my main takeaway from the trip. I really don't think there is a ton to build off of that. It's pretty clear, cut, and dry.
Yeah, I mean, if give me a couple things that you've noticed that get cleared up, or maybe you both make a aha moment, something like that, through relationship building.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's when you are working on a project with someone, and you're holding the line on, hey, it needs to be this way. When you're just a name or an email address, they will push back considerably on it. But when you have a relationship, it's really easy to just paint the picture of why you're asking that, and without having to be like, oh, well, here are all these facts and figures that point to the direction that this is blah 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 blah. Because people, while facts are important, they still don't hold as much weight as the respect of a relationship. And so when you're just like, hey, I really need this done because our customer cares about this one feature beyond everything else that we're doing. So that is why this is really critically important, and then they will understand it because they have the same customers. Like, yeah, we agree. Okay, we're going to make sure that this thing is top notch no matter what we do. So, yeah.
No, I think that's right. Facts are important, like you said, but I would say save the facts for last. And then and also building the relationship and just having the conversation will open up room for the facts to be presented, right? And received better, So one tip I want to leave for you guys is, when you're going to do these network events, because you're going to do them, you're not going to think about it or consider it. You're going to do it. All right, let's do it. Take action. When you get there, what I've found over the last few years is that if I go with, oh, I've prepared the questions I want to ask each time, I've figured out how I'm going to approach somebody, all these things are important. Have a list of things you want to walk away from each conversation with, having obtained contact information, a network, a business card. Can I follow up with you? What is their main concern? What do they mainly deal with? What's the solution that they need for the problem that they have? Like, those are all good things to walk away with, right? When you're doing a network event. And then you're going to follow up later. But don't go into the networking event and the conversation with the person thinking about those things. Know those things so well, or have a card that you can, or tape it to the back of your phone, or have your notes app open with the things that you want to walk away with. And it'd be just like you're checking your phone or looking while they're continuing the conversation with somebody. You can make it not so weird if you need to remind yourself what those things are. But I would suggest that you memorize and practice and talk about those things so much that it's like breathing. You don't even have to think about it. You just know that that's going to come up, right? And I would more focus on just being energetic and lighthearted and humorous, and coming in to the conversation with no other purpose than to say, hey, how are you? Good to meet you. What's your name? Cool. What are you doing here? What do you bring? What's your business? How's your day been going? Whatever you want, however you want to start it, just engage, right? And don't, because they'll see it. If you're sitting there toiling and thinking, and they're saying something, or they introduce themselves and the name flies right out of your head because you're trying to think about what to say next, or, oh, what was my next step to this? Don't do that. Just go in and be like any other friendly weekend get together, hang out, that you're going to talk to somebody that you've known forever. You just walk right up.
Yeah, and you want to find that common ground, right? Because that's what's going to build the bonds, right? If you like the same style of movies or something, just dive into conversations about those, and you'll lower the guard in conversation, and you'll be able to open up that dialogue between whoever you're talking to, and make sure you're going in not to be a loudspeaker and broadcast what you want to say, but be a microphone and listen to what they want to say. And And don't listen to respond, listen to understand.
That's right. Listen to understand. And the way that you can do that better is when you're not thinking about what to say next, right?
Absolutely.
So having those things memorized is going to be good for you. And so this is networking 101 stuff. And I hear so much negativity around networking and, oh, here comes the sale. Don't sell anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just get to know people. That's it. And then the opportunities will come. Of course, people are there networking. They have that motive. Of course they do. Really, what are we going to do? We have our jobs that are 8, sometimes 10 hours of our day for the rest of our lives, right? And we have our own family that we need to take care of. We have our own interests, our own motivations outside of work. We're trying to be impactful. We're trying to do. Of course, we're not just going to blow our day up going to just hang out with people just to shoot the shit just because.
Yeah.
No one's going to do that, right? Oh, let's just go hang out. Okay, cool. Of course, the motives are there to try and increase awareness around your brand, around your company, to do work. Yes, of course. But that doesn't mean you're going to go to the networking event and be like, hey, I'm Jake. I sell engineering services. Do you need those? No, buy. Like, what do you, no. Like, and then to your point, Steve, like if you're trying to find that common ground, let it develop. Don't go in there trying to force find your way to common ground. Just let it develop. Get people talking. And a great way to do that is to receive what they say and you go, oh, I hear you on that. Acknowledge what they said and then ask a clarifying question about what they said. Go deeper, right? And then you get them talking again. It's a good way to just volley back and forth. But it takes practice and it takes time. And, depending on what your default natural tendency is in communication, were you the party guy? Were you always the center of attention or were you the quiet person? Depending on who you are, it doesn't matter which person actually that you are, you need to be doing these things.
Yeah.
If you want to have the impact that we're going for. So doesn't matter where you start. Yes, the other guy that can just talk your head off and just is the center of attention has the advantage. Sure. Some of that's disadvantage if you go too far with it.
Yeah, I would argue it is a disadvantage because typically, people who lean more to the introvert side are better listeners. So they have a natural tendency to understand easier than just to listen to respond.
Yep.
So leverage that to your advantage. Be able to listen to what the person is talking about and ask the right questions to dig deeper into what they care about. And that's where you're going to find that common ground a lot quicker.
Yeah. Play the cards that you have.
Absolutely.
They're not weaknesses. That's right. That's absolutely right. While the guy that talks a bunch is easy to insert himself into a conversation, it's going to be harder for him to really connect and genuinely listen and understand. So he needs to know that. That person needs to know that to be able to bring that in. Then the other person needs to know that they're very good at that and then needs to just come up with something to get themselves in the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's what you learn.
Yeah. And that's why I really recommend pairing yourself up with someone on your own team that is the opposite of you.
Go in pairs.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can leverage both strengths. You can get into a conversation easy and get it active with the person who is naturally extroverted. And then the introverted person can sit there and listen to the conversation, start asking all the follow-up questions and digging deep into the conversation. So pair up with someone who's unlike you, and that's for maximum effectiveness.
That's a super good idea. And that goes for everything. But yeah, in this gaining and building relationships with people, that's a really good idea. And don't be afraid to then butt in. You're there for a reason. If you're going to be talking with people, there's no problem to butt in. So, learn how to do that and don't feel bad about that. Just let it happen so that you can jump in with your advice or weigh in on the topic. So, all right, Stephen, I know we've talked about this before, but build relationships, get out there, pair with your opposite at a networking event and just go to town and make sure you have that list of things that you want to walk away with that will allow you to follow up. And then you can go as deep or as shallow as you want with the information gathering. It's just you'll choose which is important to you. You'll figure it out. But the first step is just to get out there and do the stuff. So build your personal brand, build your relationships with other people, get online, get on LinkedIn, connect with us. Yeah, absolutely. And just start participating. That's the message today. Hope you guys have a good one.
Bye.